So we're going to talk about the Viva Connection, data visualization components with SPFx. Now, you might not be super familiar with Viva Connection. I will guide you through there a bit on providing the context, what we're talking, and also we're going to mention the different extensibility options within the Viva Connection. SPFx means SharePoint Framework. SharePoint Framework is the most widely used extensibility platform within the Microsoft 365 with tens of millions of monthly active users with custom components built with SPFx across Microsoft Teams, SharePoint, Viva Connection, and all of that stuff. So there's a lot of stuff there. And we keep on investing there. So the key idea here is that rather than introducing always new capabilities, new things, we can build on that existing knowledge and ecosystem, which we have with SPFx, so people can easily transition with their skills to other areas. Now, today, we're going to focus more on the data visualization components. So these are the different card options which are available in Viva Connection using Pro Developer Storyline. But before we go exactly in there, let me guide you through a bit about the overall thinking with the Viva Connection and positioning what we have with the different tooling. So the Viva Connection is considered as the company app. We have the Viva Amplify, which is considered as the communications management app. So that's for the corporate communications, centrally managing those. We have the Viva Engage application, which is for community and social. And then we have the SharePoint, which is the intranet. I'll come back on how do we position this in a second. But this is the employee communication and community section, which has its own licensing and controls and all of that stuff also available within the Microsoft 365. I'll come back on the positioning in a second. If you're not super familiar with Viva Connection, this is really the people-centered and branded employee experience across all of the device types. So the Viva Connection primary objective is to provide exactly the same experience across tablet, desktop, and mobile, as you can see on the right side. Now, on the right side, if you're really familiar with Viva Connection, might be wondering that, wait a minute, I can see the spotlight section in the desktop, but it's not available in tablet and mobile. Those are all getting updated, of course, as we move along and roll out new features. But the basic idea here is that as true directly within the Microsoft Teams or directly, that is an option nowadays as well, you can easily access your tools and apps from one centralized location. So rather than having to go to those app section in Teams or trying to remember those URLs where I can get the latest information about, for example, let's say I need to have a vacation request quote of my payslip details or whatever stock details, I can always go to the Viva Connection app and I can easily access the relevant information for me. So the application itself is customized by the organization. So there's branding capabilities, options, all of that available. And then in the persona level, you can actually personalize that as well. So you can select which are the cards which are visible within a mobile, in a tablet, or in a desktop, just making it relevant for you. Really kind of a lot of flexibility in there. Now, you might be wondering that, okay, so wait a minute. We have intranet as a SharePoint. We have Viva Connection as the company app. I don't understand. What does that mean? Well, we position this in a way that the intranet is really the pixel perfect storytelling about your company. And that's the whole company and searching the whole company. And really tailored news for me is there. There's a lot of cool capabilities and information which you can access directly from intranet. But having that pixel perfect storytelling in all of the different devices might be a bit difficult. And also, bundling in the me information, the company information, the unit organizational information, everything else within a SharePoint landing page might be a bit difficult. So therefore, the positioning and idea here is that we have the Viva Connection app. Viva Connection, by the way, is free. It's available for free for anybody within Microsoft 365. If you have an E3 tenant, it's available for you. But that's really up the positioning where it's more about the personalness, more about you. It's your application. You as an individual can access the relevant information and accessing the employee experiences, the HR information, the again, vacation information, basic information, all of that stuff. So again, more about the me and myself rather than the company, which is the pixel perfect company branding. That's kind of, and of course they're connected, they're overlapping. The same news can be published and will be published in both of the sites, but they kind of have a different purpose from a positioning perspective. The cool thing about Viva Connection also is that it adapts, like I said, in a different UX and layouts. So the new way of doing the experiences or the even extensibility is that we're using these cards, which are then adapting based on the layouts and based on the devices what you're using. So you can actually, in this case, you can see the imaginary Contoso airline layout within a mobile tablet and in desktop, and this is the imaginary Contoso retail layout within all of these different options. So you can easily see that it's adapting. You're able to do the branding. You're able to target the individual cards based on whatever is relevant for the individual, but also what's relevant for the company. Now, from an extensibility perspective, as customers quite often and developers are looking into, okay, what does it mean for me? What can I do? There's 3 different models to do cards and 3 different models of doing implementations and adjustments within the Viva Connection. There's the no-code option, which basically means that you are linking directly to other teams' application, Power Apps, or other teams' application in Microsoft Teams or web links. And those are basically then those cards are dynamically showing the relevant information and the images and icons from the target application. We have the low-code option, which is the card designer. A lot of innovation and investments on that one as well. So making it super easy to build low-code, not pro-code, low-code capabilities, hitting APIs like Microsoft Graph, surfacing information, or other APIs. What about Copilot Studio integration in the card designer? Yes, we're working on that as well. So there's a lot of interesting scenarios here in the future. Copilot integration directly within there in the low-code level. Definitely coming. And then the final option is the pro developer option, where you're using SPFx, which is SharePoint framework, to implement the application. You can then acquire these solutions directly from ISVs, from the store, or you can do in-house development using that familiar SharePoint framework extensibility platform, which can be used to extend SharePoint, Microsoft Viva, Microsoft Teams, Outlook, Microsoft 365 app, and in future also Copilot, which we actually announced that it's coming already in build. Really, really cool stuff. More on that one in the future sessions. Now, as part of our SPFx 1.19, we already released the line chart option, which will basically give you the option to implement custom cards, which are then connecting to the backend systems and surfacing relevant information. It could be stock price. That's probably the most simple example, but quite commonly people would be asking on, okay, so I want to have the monthly sales as an individual card, and I can easily access that through my Microsoft Teams directly with Viva Connection dashboard, relevant business, relevant information for me based on my role with audience targeting, and we can easily do that. And now with SPFx 1.20, we are then rolling out all of the rest of the different chart types and capabilities around the Viva visualization components. And this is what the visualization components is all about. So now you are able to build more dynamic dashboards directly within the Viva Connection. In the future, actually also in SharePoint, I'll come back on that one later in the autumn as well, but you're able to use these cards more efficiently across the Microsoft 365 to build engaging, personalized, role-based dashboards, which are surfacing relevant information from your backend. And again, you might be saying, well, I can do that with Power BI. Yes, absolutely, 100% you can. But again, we're trying to implement a dashboard where we are providing relevant information for the role, not just about the sales, not just about the stock price, not just about the individual things. One dashboard where the relevant information is coming from multiple backends, multiple locations, and then we are able to target that based on a role. So different dashboards for managers, different dashboard for employees. In the future, you can imagine dashboard also being individual components in SharePoint. If you have SharePoint divisional intranets, you can do that as well over there. There's a lot of options and innovation happening within this area. Cool. And we're looking into, there's the interesting Copilot extensibility options coming up on here as well. Not yet that time to talk about it in here. There's some bits and pieces shown here and there, but we'll get more details when the time is right. Now, 1.20, SPFx 1.20 GA is happening in September, so that is happening this month within the upcoming weeks. We're heading to release candidate, I think, next week, if I remember correctly. So you're able to start using these cards already relatively fast. But let's have a look on how that looks in practice in a desktop view, and then I'll show how it looks in tablet and mobile view in a second as well. But let me actually come in here. So again, I'm in my Microsoft Teams experience. So this is imaginary Contoso experience, and again, the Viva connection can be easily accessed directly from the left menu. The cool thing about the Viva Connection is that you can personalize that with your company branding, all of that stuff. You can make it named as your company and all of that as needed, or something else. You can come up with a code name for Viva Connection, or you can keep it as Viva Connection. Definitely an option as well. But then in here, you're able to actually brand the things, and you can see the individual card visualization components being presented in a dashboard. This is just an imaginary data which could be coming from backend. I'll show all of how this is implemented in a second. But then individual visualization components can be adjusted. They extend. They can be adjusted to be a smaller sections, so they can render in a medium or small format. Right now, we only have a medium and large options. We're looking into having multiple other options there as well. So there's a lot of interesting capabilities in the future pipeline as well. But you can imagine that you can build really engaging dashboards and relevant information per user, per the role, based on the new options which are available, and much more engaging dashboards as well. So they're not static. It's a dynamic data which is getting loaded from the backend directly and showing the relevant information directly within there. And then it's up to the developer to decide what happens when I click the card. So in my case, these are just pretty dummy cards. So if I click the card, actually nothing happens. But we could just as well redirect the user to the backend system. We could redirect, surface more additional information in the quick view, or whatever we want to do actually based on the business requirements. But there's a lot of flexibility for developers to then start doing integrations and UX level adjustments on the cards on top of this. Good. Now, how were these actually implemented? So the cool thing about SPFx 1.19 already is that we actually introduced the new component types. And I can actually show this one since we do have some time. Let me go in here. And let me go in the PMP folder. I'm just going to zoom in a second. I'm going to do here call demo. And then if I go to call demo and run the SharePoint framework Yeoman generator, of course, you could use absolutely 100% the brilliant community provided SharePoint Framework Toolkit, which has thousands and thousands of downloads already, which is a great option. I'm going to use now just the Yeoman generator in here directly within the command line. There's a lot of options how you can do these things. But as part of the 1.19, we introduced this data visualization card template, and that's actually giving you the starting point with the line chart. So line chart ACE. And then you can modify that line chart ACE, as in the adaptive card extension, to actually not draw line charts, to draw quick pies or donuts or with bars. And implementing those is incredibly easy. So let's have a look on here, for example, the bar chart. And I will open up the card view. And we can basically see what's available. Let me actually zoom in one more. Bar chart, in this case, we are rendering a few different bar series, and this is the bar chart. So that's a 1 series, that's a 1 series, and that's a 1 series, and three series. And then we're basically saying, for the card, please draw a bar chart card view. And we are providing those individual values as a parameter. Now, what does that look like? Let's actually have a look on that one as well. So let me actually get in here. That is actual implementation of that particular chart card over there. So we are able to then introduce as many series of as needed, and depending on how the things are being rendered, it's either rendering the full view, what we're actually providing, or then it's rendering on a few of the months as a limitation, because again, it cannot squeeze the information in a super small area. But super easy to actually implement from a code perspective. You just provide the needed backend, needed data. And in my case, all of this data is obviously hard-coded, just as well as we're talking about code. I could be able to connect to my SAP, my sales system, LOB, whatever system is where your business data is available. You can connect to those and then surfacing that information directly within a chart card format. And for all of these rendering options, there's a lot of the individual options related on the coloring, related on the charts, options, and all of that. So simple example, if I now go to the pie chart, and the actual pie chart implementation, which is that one over there, we can actually see that we are able to define, for example, things like color, is the label available, and yes or no, what are the individual, obviously, values within the pie chart, and then it's summarizing that individual thing available. The same applies obviously to the donut chart as well. So there's a lot of flexibility about the branding, about the terms and labels and numbers and all of that within here as well. So really, really cool options. Right now, all of this, as mentioned, is a pro developer story. So you cannot actually take into use any of the visualization components within a non-pro developer way. So this requires a pro developer, somebody in-house or a consultant or an ISV to implement these things as a developer. But a lot of new opportunities to align on things. And of course, we would be able to align all of the colors, the theming colors automatically, and then adapt whatever is the themes which are assigned to the Viva connection and make them look even more prettier. It's almost almost low code. Thank you, Paul, on the comment on the chat. Now, something what I kind of teased already, I'm not going to actually do the live demo on updating the code because, well, it works in a workbench. There's nothing new over there, but something to be aware of what we're also looking. I don't think we talked about this one too much. We are also looking into having a web part, which will enable you to create instances of this dashboard in a SharePoint. Again, just maximizing the value of the card framework and card options in the Viva connection. In the future, you do not need to have a Viva connection even enabled, but you're still able to use the actual cards within the SharePoint. So if you're more into the SharePoint intranets and SharePoint experiences, you're able to do that. Today, there is a Viva connection web part, but there is no flexible card web part where you can assign whatever cards you want to be actually rendered there. We're looking into different options how to make that happen, but that's actively being worked on right now within our development team. So a lot of interesting area in there. But a lot of cool things happening and cool things which are available with the visualization cards, and they are really easy for developers to actually adapt, and we can easily control the actual technical implementation details. And again, with SharePoint Framework, you can easily connect to the backend, to the APIs in Azure. You can connect to multiple APIs and then combine the data and then render that directly within the dashboard. Now, I did want to actually show also the tablet experience and also the mobile experience. I will click the mobile to actually go there. So you can see that both the tablet experience and the mobile experience is adapting to the card visualization things as well. And of course, it looks almost the same as in the desktop. The only kind of a difference right now within the mobile and the desktop, currently as this was recorded, there is no spotlight section in the top. We're looking into multiple options and design options on that one. Those are all coming to dashboard, the desktop and mobile as well. And with a spotlight, just to kind of recap, spotlight is this new section which is not yet explicitly shown into top or as an individual tab for mobile and mobile and tablet experiences. But you can already see individual cards exactly rendered in the same way in both sides, and you can then click a link, access directly deep linking to the Microsoft Teams or the applications within the whatever is the business case from any device in the world. I can openly say personally, it took me a while to get used to the Viva connection. Nowadays, I tend to use my tablet when I'm sitting in the living room after working, watching news, doing things, and then something pops in my mind. I can then use my tablet to easily go and double check some relevant information directly from the Viva connection rather than accessing the multiple applications and what's happening and all of that. I can just access a lot of relevant information and capabilities directly in Viva connection. So it's been a really nice experience for me as well. Cool. Now, quick reference points on that one. Resources for data visualization components, SPFx 1.20, still in beta, going to release candidate, I think next week, if I remember the exact date correctly. I should know because I'm responsible for releasing some of that stuff, but probably double check these things when we do these demos, but still going GA still in September unless there's any last minute surprises within the code set. Tutorial on getting started is available. We'll add all of these links. Thank you, David, on sharing those in the chat already. We'll add them in the video notes as well. An existing sample demonstrating options is available. The sample there is exactly what I showed today, which is showing all of those different options, which you see on the right side as well. So you're able to easily start to use that. You don't need to change any code even. You can just deploy that, compile and deploy that to your tenant, developer tenant or test tenant, or if you want to test around, and you can see that nice looking look and feel available.